Welcome to our channel, Gray Matters. We are two neurodivergent ladies who fixate and need to share, and we've created this channel to do just that. Check out our podcast, Fixate Today, Gone Tomorrow, for some deeper dives. We are going to be taking a look at the members of John Paul Miller's inner circle, as well as the side characters in the investigation going on around Micah Francis's death. Today, let's meet Reginald Wayne Miller. Wayne Miller was a rising star in the charismatic world, launching his own TV show. Between 1972 and to this day, Wayne has been launching and closing churches and schools, primarily in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Wayne has been given a number of honorary doctorates from non-accredited universities, which has led him to refer to himself as Doctor. In the 1980s, Wayne was a member of the group Citizens Against Pornography. Starting in the 70s, Wayne's churches and schools just keep burning down. There were suspicious fires around Wayne in 1976, 1980, and 1999. In 1988, a 5-part expose ran in WPDE on Wayne, alleging he made inappropriate advances on students at his Bible college. There are decades of reports about Wayne attempting to procure land and buildings for churches and schools, and these reports are linked to lawsuits when he doesn't get his way. In 2006, Wayne pleaded guilty to indecent exposure after exposing himself to an undercover police officer in a bathhouse. In 2007, Wayne Miller and his ex-wife Susan divorce. In their divorce affidavit, she said their whole life revolved around, quote, working for the parishioners. In her divorce filing, Susan claimed their marriage began unraveling back in the 80s after the wives of 2 male Bible college students accused Wayne of making sexual advances toward their husbands. She alleged physical and sexual abuse against their children, specifically JP. She also states that she once found Wayne in bed with another man. Shortly after this divorce, Wayne married his second wife. In 2014, Wayne pleaded guilty to having 16 foreign exchange students work for him. The allegations were these students worked for little to no payment, Wayne held their visas, and threatened to meddle with their immigration status. In 2015, Wayne's second wife filed for divorce while he was on house arrest. In 2017, Wayne's supervised release was ended early. In August 2020, Wayne moved to Pakistan to start a church ministry. 2 years later, rumors start that Wayne sexually abused boys and was having sex with a man. Locals called him, quote, great gay white Christian American, and he threw his money around to intimidate anyone from confronting him about his behavior. Wayne fled Pakistan with his alleged boyfriend and his boyfriend's sister. It appears Wayne's friend and roommate, Robert Troy Taylor, is helping him with this. Troy sponsored Wayne's Pakistani male lover's sister to come to the U.S., and she brought her brother with her for Wayne. Troy has an extensive criminal history himself, and we'll meet him in another video. May 16th, 2024, Wayne released a 900-word statement to the Daily Mail, demonizing Micah and her family while defending JP and parroting the things JP had been saying regarding Micah's death. In 2024, JP's ex-wife Allison filed emergency court documents against JP. In this filing, she also wanted a restraining order for her minor children from JP's father, Wayne. Wayne has a congregation that meets at a local strip mall, and apparently there are not a lot of attendees. Logan Hardy. Logan Hardy is JP's first child. JP was very young when he had Logan at only 19 years old. Logan has his mother's last name and not the last name of Miller. December 2023 and January 2024, Logan was arrested twice for first-degree domestic abuse. The police were called around 2 a.m. to his home. His victim was going in and out of consciousness when the police arrived. Allegedly, Logan began breaking her items after an argument. He then pushed her down and took her phone before he hit her in the back of the head with a glass bottle. He fled the home, but did eventually turn himself in. He claimed that the victim shredded some of his documents, so he broke her computer. As of now, I cannot find any new information on these charges. January 2024, Logan allegedly hit on Mica in front of JP. In a police report, Mica expressed concern that Logan had access to her laptop. In February 2024, Mica saw Logan following her in his work truck. You couldn't miss it. His work logo is on the truck. Logan was also in divorce court at the same time as JP. His ex-wife had filed in January 2023, and he responded by filing himself, just like JP did to Mica. There is an order of protection also filed in this divorce case. Charles Randall is a father figure and spiritual mentor to J.P. Miller. He was the dean of Cathedral Bible College, which was Wayne's college, from 2004 to 2012. Charles was one of a group of 5 or 6 people who were with JP when he got the call about Mica's death. Charles has been serving as a representative of JP since Mica's death. He's given sermons when JP was on a break, and he has said that the church should be full during this difficult time. He has remained steadfast in his desire to help his, quote, Christian brother. At one time, Charles's daughter worked for Waccamaw Mental Health Center, where Mica was hospitalized. Charles was Mica and JP's marriage counselor. He has alleged that there was absolutely no abuse in the marriage, and he didn't know why Mica had filed for divorce. He was working with the couple to, quote, restore their marriage. Trisha Ross is a ministry assistant at Solid Rock Church. She's known as JP's right-hand man. Trisha has been at Solid Rock for over 15 years. She is a dedicated ally to JP, going on the offensive against people who seem to be against JP. Her allegiance runs so deep that her family has cut ties with her recently, and she hasn't been allowed to see her grandchildren. Her life appears to be completely consumed by Solid Rock Church. Trisha's husband, John, was a beloved member of Solid Rock Church before his death from cancer. JP and other church leadership called him Superman. JP and Solid Rock Church likely helped pay Trisha's bills after his death, which is how a church benevolence fund should work. Trisha has said the church saved her after John's death. At John's funeral, instead of flowers, she asked for donations to Solid Rock Church. Trisha has been married twice. Her divorce from her first husband took a very long time, as happens in South Carolina with their strict divorce laws. Trisha Ross has her own criminal record. In 2004, she was convicted of breach of trust with fraudulent intent valued over $5,000 or more from stealing from Dollar General, where she worked at the time. She received a 2-year suspended sentence, 5 years probation, and ordered to pay restitution. By 2006, she was ordered to continue paying the restitution as well as a court fine, totaling $1,200. Trisha would reach out to Mica when she was displaying behaviors that JP didn't find suitable for his wife, including when she left him. Trisha would tell Mica to be a godly wife and return to her husband. In 2023, Trisha sent the Francis family a text message that she claimed to be a cease and desist, telling them to stop saying bad things about JP and Solid Rock Church, or they would seek financial damages. Trisha was one of 5 people with JP when he got the call that Mica had died. Trisha knew that JP had a private investigator following Mica. JP called her in the early morning hours of March 11th after his PI alerted him that Mica was meeting up with a man. On March 13th, Trisha called 911 and reported that Mica had stolen $1,200 from the church. JP could be heard in the background of this call. JP has been found to be soliciting random people to dig up dirt on content creators who are investigating him. Screenshots of text messages between him and Trisha have been released, with him instructing her to write a check for $350 out of the church benevolence fund. Her signature is on the check. A text message recently from Trisha prompted a wellness check due to suicidal ideation. She may have been hospitalized due to refusing to take her insulin. The FBI seems interested in Trisha and her involvement with JP and Solid Rock Church. Suzie Skinner is a member of Solid Rock Church. Allegedly, she and JP have been dating since 2021, while they were both married to other people. Suzie met her husband Chris in 2000 at the hospital where she was working as a physical therapist. Chris was paraplegic and used a wheelchair. They married in 2003, moved to Myrtle Beach in 2013, and began attending Solid Rock Church in 2018. In 2021, Chris Skinner died after drowning in a community pool. His wheelchair rolled into the pool while he was in it. This was a pool that Chris used almost daily, and Chris was an incredibly strong and healthy man. JP conducted his funeral. In a 2024 emergency court filing from JP's ex-wife Allison, she alleges that before his death, Chris asked JP to leave his wife and kids alone. Sources report that someone had asked Chris to meet him at the pool that morning to play chess and talk. No one has ever said who this person is. On May 4th, 2024, photos were released of JP having a meal with Suzie. He was still wearing his wedding ring. It has been said that Suzie was with JP during the time of Mica's death. They were together at a youth soccer game. Their kids do play on a team together. Suzie has been seen many times with JP since Mica's death, including meetings with a specific group of people, including Trisha Ross, Tom Winslow, and Charles Randall. Mark is a pianist and co-owner of Crocodile Rock's Piano Bar in Myrtle Beach. JP is a silent partner in the business. Mark is a truly gifted musician, and he began playing piano at Solid Rock Church. Mark has had multiple wives and affairs, and the women in his life seem to be getting progressively younger. Mark has a whopping 30 traffic violations on his record. In January 2024, Mark acquired his student's pilot's license. Shortly after, Solid Rock purchased a plane. On the registration for the plane, Solid Rock Church is listed as the owner, but Mark's address is used. It is widely speculated that Mark purchased the plane for Solid Rock Church, or somehow gave Solid Rock Church this plane as a gift. Meet Tom Winslow. Tom is JP's attorney and a member of Solid Rock Church. His areas of practice include family law, real estate litigation, civil lawsuits, and mediation. He is also a notary. He has helped JP obtain legal documentation of Mica's alleged mental health diagnoses. Tom has expressed interest in artificial intelligence, going as far as calling himself an expert. On December 5, 2022, Mica signed a healthcare power of attorney, granting JP as the primary agent. This gave JP the power to make medical decisions for Mica if she were mentally incapacitated. Tom and one of his employees signed the document as witnesses. However, the dates of these signatures are listed as a week before Mica signed. This power of attorney was not filed until May 2024. Tom owns property about 10 miles away from where Mica's body was found. JP has access to this property and has been seen regularly going there since the loss of Mica. Today, let's meet Daniel Figler. Dan Figler is a South Carolina personal trainer and powerlifter. Solid Rock Church promoted him as JP and Mica's trainer. In 2013, he was listed as Fugitive of the Week when he was wanted for narcotics charges. In 2017, he was hit by a drunk driver while on his motorcycle. He was not wearing a helmet. Dan allegedly is the person who provided JP with the testosterone that he was injecting into Mica. It is believed that steroids can lead to an increased sex drive. In addition to the charges we've already discussed, Dan has been arrested multiple times. Narcotics crimes, harassment, driving under the influence, domestic violence, possessing a controlled substance, and malicious injury to animals. Keith Grice and Blair Schaeffer. Keith Grice has been the Manning, South Carolina police chief officially since 2019 and as an interim since 2018. He spent most of his career with South Carolina Highway Patrol. He became interim chief when Blair Schaeffer was fired. We'll talk about that in a moment. Many believe that Keith Grice is the person in the surveillance video of Mica in the pawn shop. However, we don't think that's accurate. We don't think it's him in that video. Blair Schaeffer was the Manning, South Carolina police chief from 2010 until he was fired in 2018. He was arrested on January 7th, 2019 on multiple charges of money laundering, theft of federal funds, and providing false statements. November 2020, he was sentenced to a year and 1 day in federal prison. It was found he stole nearly $80,000 in seized cash in 2015. The money was stolen from the evidence room. Blair lied to the FBI twice, which led to the charge of making a false statement to law enforcement. The theft was discovered after a court order called for the money to be returned to the property owners. The cash was given to the owner's attorney in checks from Blair's personal bank account. He pled guilty in federal court in an effort to avoid the maximum sentence of 10 years in prison and a $250,000 fine. Robert Troy Taylor. Troy is a business associate, friend, and roommate of Wayne Miller. Troy is a registered sex offender with convictions for kidnapping and sexual assault against a minor from his time as a youth pastor in Murrells Inlet, South Carolina. He met Wayne through Wayne's prison ministry. For this offense, Troy had been sentenced to life in prison. However, his conviction was vacated due to ineffective assistance of counsel. He was released on $50,000 bail, and the case was never tried again. However, he is still on the sex registry. Despite being a registered sex offender, specifically against children, Troy bought an ice cream truck and opened up a business. Neighbors discovered his name on the sex registry, leading to years of Troy moving ownership and changing names of the business. He claims he hasn't broken any laws or misled anyone about his past. The name of this business was called Taylor's Homemade LLC. Ownership changed to another person in March of 2022 and was officially terminated as an LLC in September 2022. This may have been because in July 2022, a new state law identifies child-oriented businesses and the procedures for sex offenders operating these businesses. This includes ice cream trucks. The business's Facebook page claims Troy has not been affiliated with the business in over 2 years. Troy and Wayne traveled to Pakistan together on several missions trips. There are pictures of Troy with young boys in Pakistan. Troy has allegedly been linked to people in Pakistan who help American men fly to the country to have inappropriate interactions with children. Troy sponsored Wayne's alleged boyfriend's sister to marry him so they can move to the U.S., and currently all four live together. Today, let's meet Heather and Brian Wilson and their son DJ. Heather Wilson is a captain with the Horry County PD. She's had a long and prestigious career with law enforcement, including a recognition for saving her partner's life. She has 3 children, 2 from her first marriage and an adopted son from her current marriage. Anytime we've come across JP saying he would make a call to a buddy in law enforcement, that person was Heather. JP used his relationship with Heather to intimidate people. Since Mica's death, Heather has left Solid Rock Church and become an ally to the Francis family. Before Mica's death, she and Heather made amends after Mica felt that she and her husband, Brian, wouldn't take her cries for help seriously. Heather is currently in charge of the Animal Care Center. I don't know if this means she has anything to do with the canine unit, but it is interesting that a number of canines have been seen around Solid Rock Church during the investigation. Brian Wilson is Heather's husband and DJ's stepfather. Brian was the head of security at Solid Rock Church. He's a former police officer, and he is employed at First Choice Auto Sales. DJ, whose last name we are choosing not to use, is a young man who was employed at Solid Rock Church. JP had said he wanted DJ to take the church over for him when he retired. DJ has preached at Solid Rock Church, and DJ also has his pilot's license. DJ was the man Mica met on March 10th through 11th. JP allegedly was sent into a rage when he found out about this meeting. DJ told him that he and Mica kissed and held hands. After JP found out about this meeting, DJ was fired from Solid Rock Church. Joseph, Lynette, and Destiny Dutton. Joseph and Lynette Dutton are co-pastors of King's House Church in Myrtle Beach. The family is connected to Wayne Miller and his schools. Joseph likes to think of himself as a sort of Christian media mogul. The couple have ties to mega churches around the country. One of the Duttons companies installed cameras at Solid Rock Church in 2017 in hopes of streaming and recording sermons for a possible future television show. The Duttons started Dominion TV in 2018, and it is rumored that Dominion is helping JP with his attorney's fees. At one of the protests at Solid Rock Church, a woman calling herself Adrienne Fisher from a network called Coastal Life Media began interviewing protesters. We quickly learned that this woman is actually Destiny Dutton, Joseph and Lynette's daughter. Adrienne is Destiny's middle name, and Fisher is Lynette's maiden name. She tried to deny it was her. Bernard Kennerson. Bernie was a leader at Solid Rock Church until he resigned on May 4th, 2024, due to JP's behavior after Mica's death. Bernie reported that leaders were encouraged to back up JP and protect him and the church. Once reports of JP's alleged abusive behavior began coming out, Bernie resigned. Trisha Ross alerted Bernie to Mica's death on the night she was found. She said she needed him to get a sermon prepared for the following Sunday. 10 minutes after that call, JP texted him, saying that he would be preaching, not Bernie. In 1991, Bernie was convicted of indecent acts with another while he was in the Army. He is a registered sex offender, but there is no stipulations about him being around children. The official charge was sodomy with a child, indecent liberties with a child, indecent acts with another, and he was accused of showing pornography to a child. The victim was Bernie's 6-year-old daughter. Genist. Nick is a member of Solid Rock Church. A photo was shared of him and Trisha Ross sitting outside of Solid Rock Church, holding hands and praying while protesters were there. Although Nick seems to be the one taking a lot of pictures of protesters, telling them that they will need bail money after he shares these photos. After Mica's death, Nick was given the job of managing Solid Rock's social media. He posted Russell Long's attempt to cease and desist the entire internet. He also was responding to comments. Nick has had multiple charges, including traffic violations, public intoxication, misdemeanor battery, and resisting arrest. Nick seems to be a lackey for JP and his actual inner circle. However, content creator Robbie Harvey has said that we should remember Nick's name. We may be hearing it in the course of the FBI investigation of JP and Solid Rock Church. Today, let's meet Robert Local. Could be Lochel, I'm not sure. I'm going to stick to Local. Robert became a member of Solid Rock Church in 2020. Solid Rock Church may have given Robert a large sum of money after a hospitalization. This is what a church benevolence fund should be used for. On June 30th, 2024, JP turned the sprinklers on protesters at Solid Rock Church. Robert sprayed the protesters with the sprinklers. On July 3rd, he was charged with assault, and a warrant was issued for his arrest. Robert was supposed to be arrested after service on July 7th. He was not, however, due to his age and health problems, according to the police. He seems to have hidden the church after service and snuck out the back. JP spent time with the police after this church service. Police told protesters that Robert would be turning himself in the following day. He did, and was arrested. It appears that JP's attorney, Russell Long, is representing Robert, and JP is paying for the attorney. Thanks for joining us.